I woke up, I was thinking, was it like a mile down?
A camper left terrified on the banks of Bucks Lake in Northern California, where two buddies were camping out for the night. 23-year-old Sheldon Steward and Trevor Holminski, just 20.
They had been camping a few times before.
Trevor's mother, Allison, had no reason to believe her son would be in any danger that night.
He was wilderness trained and knew how to take care of himself.
Graduating with honors from a long, grueling wilderness survival course when he was in his late teens.
I spent 98 days in the wilderness.
And even making a film titled Blue Crow about the life-changing experience.
It was blue, which was for friendliness, openness, freedom.
Winning high admiration of his friends and family whom he interviewed for the film.
I'm incredibly proud of you, Trevor. You have walked a path that many people 4 times your age haven't walked, and the things you have done in your short life are amazing.
He loved the outdoors.
He liked to get away from all the hubbub. He had social media accounts, but he never liked that everybody always has their nose in their phone. So he liked getting away, just him and his friends and the wilderness. Trevor loved music. He loved writing music. He loved playing music. He loved producing music. A brilliant wordsmith. Just had a really good grasp of English. He was a beautiful writer.
Trevor's sunny nature and sense of humor endeared him to anyone who met him.
They did that.
And Trevor was intent on following a childhood dream to join the Marines.
He had a lot of patriotic pride, and he was strong and smart, qualities that the Marines would look for. And he wanted to be Special Forces.
But after being accepted into the military, Trevor wanted one last hurrah before shipping out. A farewell camping trip with his buddy, Sheldon Steward.
And that was one thing he wouldn't stop talking about.
Trevor visited his parents a few hours before he and Sheldon made the 2.5-hour drive to Bucks Lake.
He was so excited to go camping with his best friend.
His mom and dad never imagined the terrible fate awaiting their son and his pal.
When we got into the car, Trevor walked us to our car, and Trevor hugged his mom goodbye, and I didn't. That's something I have to live with for the rest of my life.
I wish that I could go back and say, don't go camping.
Nothing would have given anyone a reason to believe that that camping trip would have ended the way it did.
The grim mystery unfolds when firefighters respond to early morning reports of a raging brush fire at Bucks Lake. As they bring the blaze under control, a horrifying discovery. Sheldon lies savagely stabbed, nearly unconscious but alive.
There were approximately 10 stab wounds on the side of his neck, and one was a little bit worse than the rest.
Then firefighters find something else that makes them recoil in horror.
They came across a hot spot, and it turned out to be a body.
Burned beyond recognition, lying in a campfire pit and still smoldering.
In like a fetal position.
Investigators know immediately that the body was not burned in the brush fire.
How bad the body was burned, it would take more than just a regular fire. It would basically have to be stoked. This was definitely no accident at all.
The fire becomes a murder scene. District Attorney David Hollister says investigators were scrambling for clues.
Getting the crime scene under control, figuring out what was going on, how many assailants might be out there, and exactly what happened, especially at a time when we were trying to really fight a fire that we were concerned was going to take the whole forest.
It all leads to more questions than answers.
What weapon was used to perpetrate the crime? Where it happened? We're up here in the woods. It's very easy to hide things up here.
But the biggest mystery of all, just whose body is that?
It's pretty shocking, and at that time it was very chaotic up here.
Investigators assume it's Sheldon's pal, Trevor Holminski. But when Sheldon regains full consciousness in the hospital, he reveals a shocker. He says Trevor attacked him with a knife and ran into the woods.
Took off from the camping area and he didn't know where he was.
Investigators fear Trevor may have attempted to kill his best friend and then also burned another camper alive. But as Sheldon recovers from his wounds, he reveals more details, telling investigators the camping expedition turned out to be a really bad trip in more ways than one.
He gives me some tabs, a little piece of paper, and we take them, and we have a really good night.
Sheldon claims they ingested around 20 hits of LSD, otherwise known as acid, and also smoked pot.
So him being really aggressive.
Both tripping out so badly that Sheldon says Trevor does something that shocked him.
He was hitting me, but he wouldn't come out and say it.
Is what happens next a motive for murder?
He was hitting me, but he wouldn't come out and say it.
Now, survivor Sheldon Steward tells detectives what he says happened while camping that left him recovering from stab wounds, claiming his buddy Trevor Holminski hit on him while they were both tripping on LSD.
Are you guys like kind of sort of in a relationship?
No, we've never had any type of physical relationship like that. It's always just been me hanging out with my best friend.
But Sheldon tells detectives Trevor was bisexual.
But I never thought that he was attracted to me. He's never said anything about that to me.
Then Sheldon drops a bombshell, claiming Trevor attempted to rape him while he was trying to go to sleep and attacked him with a knife.
I kicked him, and he stood up, and he realized that the knife wasn't sharp, and he just threw it and pulled out another knife.
Sheldon says, fearing for his life, they wrestled for the knife.
When he realized that he was bleeding also, I know I stabbed him in his arm, probably at least 2 times. He just left.
He walked away?
Yes.
You don't know where he's at?
No, I haven't seen him in hours. As far as I know, he's probably still somewhere around the campsite. I laid there for a couple hours. They done with bleed to death. And there's a couple times I blacked out and I woke up, I was still by fire. I thought I was in hell.
At first, it appeared Trevor may be on a murderous rampage at Bucks Lake.
For all anyone knew, Trevor was still running around the woods.
But as detectives soon learn more about the charred body in the campfire pit, they're shocked when the autopsy results reveal it's Trevor Holminski, stabbed in his back and chest before being incinerated.
It could have been either of the stab wounds, either the one to the front or the one to the back.
Suddenly, Sheldon goes from victim to main person of interest in Trevor's murder.
He was basically our number one suspect.
Cops suspect Sheldon's own knife wounds are self-inflicted.
What was odd from the beginning in looking at the wounds is that most of them were superficial.
Detectives hit Sheldon hard.
Did you stab yourself in the neck?
No.
And there are slash marks on Sheldon's wrists, which he admits were indeed self-inflicted.
Why did you cut your wrists, though, when you woke up?
I'm really sad that my best friend just left me there to die. I just stabbed me in the neck. I was screaming and nobody came to help me.
Investigators don't buy it, or Sheldon's claim that Trevor attacked him.
Once it became apparent to Sheldon that he had killed his friend and he was reaching for what story might work. And I think he went back and forth between, I'm going to try and get away with murder versus I'm going to try and kill myself.
Based on the evidence, it was clear to us that the only person that used a weapon was Sheldon. He stabbed himself in the neck. He cut his own wrists. He also stabbed his friend.
Each step of the investigation led us to a conclusion that while Sheldon may have come across as a very nice young man, on that evening he was nothing short of evil.
Maybe you were upset at him for trying to advance on you sexually, and you got upset at him and stabbed him.
That's not what happened.
We're able to find the location where Sheldon had buried not only the murder weapon, but some other items of evidence.
Confronted with the overwhelming evidence, Sheldon finally admits that he did indeed kill his best friend, but claims it was not only in self-defense, but also because Trevor pleaded with him to do it as he lay bleeding to death.
So he asked you to put him out of his misery?
Yeah.
You were being compassionate at that point? Is that what was going on?
Yes.
Where did you stab him?
I don't know. I closed my eyes and I just started screaming. So I stopped hearing him move.
Then Sheldon admits to building a bonfire and throwing Trevor's body on it.
Try to cover evidence?
I started the fire. I was sitting next to him, contemplating what just happened, what I did, and I started the fire.
Sheldon Steward is found guilty of murder in the first degree and sentenced to 26 years to life.
The world is not going to be the same without him.
It gets easier as time goes on. Not that I miss him less or think of him less. Maybe you're just used to the gaping hole in your heart.